Alright, so Val X Love episode 2 has got me questioning and thinking about this main character. And to be honest with this, after watching the first episode, I said that it was kind of like a Sekirei type. And looking at this episode, it is similar to Sekirei. Not the same storyline. I'm not gonna say same storyline, but if you think about it, complex wise, or the feeling of Sekirei, and if you guys have watched Sekirei, because I'm gonna bring that up multiple times, it's kind of the same thing. Like, just hear me out. You have a main character. You got a main character. Check. They living with girls. Check. One got six Sekireis. One got nine Valkyrie sisters. One got, and when in Sekirei, when the main character kisses Sekirei, their powers increase, or you level up, you could say. In Val X Love, when he kissed someone, they leveled up too. So you see what I'm trying to point out? I mean, it's the same thing. Where it's like, you know, they both Sekirei. I mean, it's kind of like Sekirei. The only difference is the storyline. But still, you live in a house with six Sekirei. You live in a house with nine sisters. Don't you see the complex of that? You kind of see that. And each Sekirei has an ability that he's with, like a fighting type like Musubi, a water type like Tsukiyumi, a plant type like Kusuno. And then you look at this one here, you're thinking like it's the same thing because each of them has weapons too. One got swords, one got chains. You see, that right there is the definition of the same thing. Now, episode 2, I get where the main character is coming from. But looking at this, I don't see like a hype of etchiness. Like, I do understand they show a lot of etchiness with them changing, the student council and everybody else changing. Don't get me wrong. But you mean it like him, the main character, trying to be a good person, and he's trying to, and I feel bad for him. Everybody still treating him like a demon. But he has this social anxiety thing where he has this phobia. Yeah, social anxiety where he's being around people. And I'm like, you're trying to be a good person, but how can you be a good person to everyone if you're scared of people? Now, I get it. It takes... I get it. I mean, people are paralyzed by fear like that. Even with one, it's like when you go on a podium, when you go on stage, you want to do a speech, and you see people staring at you, you got that fear. Or when people are around you, you get that nervous breakdown, I see where he's coming from. He's too nervous. His mind goes blank. I get that. Sure, he could have taken online classes or have the student council president and the rest of his sisters homeschooling, but he doesn't want that. So, what I'm saying is, I get where he's coming from to the point where I'm like, okay, you want to be friendly, you want to be you want to be a good person to everybody, and that fear is holding him back, because if you think about it, he's living with nine sisters, nine Valkyries, hottest sisters, but he has, again, this fear is going to be when he's with people with them. So now that he's living with nine of them, it's hard for him to cope. It's hard to talk. It's hard to, like, the fear is so powerful that he can't even be around with other people. Like, even with one person in the house, he still can't get that fear out of him. So that's why his grades are going down. And I don't blame him. I mean, I've seen that before. We all, that's a real thing, to be honest. That's actually a real thing. It's that he's scared of people. People are afraid of him, but he's afraid of being with other people, even when he studies. So that's the problem. Now, on to the person with the chains. Okay, the student council president is hot. I'm not gonna lie, she is hot. And she has this daddy complex, trying to prove to her dad that she's the best of the best out of the nine. Now, I don't know. Me personally, I'm not that kind of like first sister, second sister, third, fourth, fifth Valkyrie. I'm not even those sisters. I'm just, again, I don't have a favorite girl, just my point yet out of the nine. I don't have a favorite. But looking at looking at this, I mean, okay, the storyline is kind of a, and by, I mean, like, it doesn't speak to me in a way that I could say, oh, it's a good ecchi harem action anime. Okay, Sekirei had a good storyline. I understand it. High School DxD had a storyline. I understand it. Shin Mamano Testament had a storyline. I understand it. It's just some of those ecchi harem shows that you gotta say, that's a good storyline. I want to see how this goes. But when I look at Val X Love right now, it doesn't ring a bell yet to me and saying, that's the storyline? Okay, now I'm getting a little. But when I'm looking at it, just like, not much is happening. But anyway, the chain girl, the student council president, is really hilarious. I mean, she tried ways to level up in so many ways. From clenching on his arms, from looking at his face for 30 seconds. Even though they know that he's afraid, she should try to level up. And all those attempts to rank her up is failed. It's like one of those missions, those side missions, or those main missions that you see in those games where you like do this or do that, but then just fail. Okay, go on to the next task. Fail. Next task. Next mission. Failed. And that's how that was for him. Then we get to the change room, and we did get a lot of the dosage of fan service in this. Kissing and fan service. We did get a lot of that. I mean, she did show off the body. Don't get me wrong. She does have a good body. And then all of a sudden, they see this demon coming out of nowhere. There's this demon, a balloon demon. Looked like a fucking balloon head. But still, there's a demon and they blocked it. And now, it's like, okay, so she's going to kiss this one. Let's see how this works. But she tried to level up in a way, like, it did have some, don't get me wrong, guys. It did have some funny moments in this. Those chibi faces and those face expressions, it did brought up the comedy a bit. But with the girl, she got on top of the gym storage and tried to do things so sexually just to rank up. But it was hard for her. Like, I get it. They're gonna have a backstory one way or another. But by looking at this, it says like, okay, this is like, okay, 1 in a million chance. But we all knew that and the thing about this is that I knew the way how this episode is going on right now, every episode is gonna have a girl kissing this guy, or he kisses her. But either way, she leveled up, just a kiss on the cheek, leveled up, find the kindness in his heart, just to pat her on the head, the kindness that it is, and then it just ranked up to the top. She just decimated him. Even though the ghost was good and all slimy, ripping off the other girl's clothes, which we all got, that was good. But literally, he was kind of like, okay, we knew that this was going to happen. The chain girl was going to finish it off because this was her episode. And like Val X Love, episode 3, and so on and so on, each girl is going to level up to the point where we can see other abilities and other abilities to say, okay, I like this girl because she has that sword or weapon or any type. But what I'm trying to say is this was okay episode. And not only that, looking at the student council president and all especially that boy with that ugly hair, that fucked up hair, that mop hair, I'm gonna call it mop hair or whatever. I knew he was a villain to begin with. I mean, looking at that shady, freakish hair boy, that boy with the freakish hair, I knew that he was a villain. Because he's so freaking obvious. He got that ugly hair, and I'm like, okay, this guy's a beast. And they showed it at the end, like, this guy is level 63. Everybody is like in their 20s, their 10s, even the single digits. But for this guy to be then in the 60s, that's a freaking problem. So he gotta, for the main character's advice, all I gotta say is, you need to work on your fear and make out with these 9 Valkyries just to level up. Just to level them up to the point where they'd be like in the 60s, for God's sake. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'll be honest. The first 2 episodes of Val X Love is not really that big of a hype for me. Like, I get it. This is one of those ecchi shows that everybody's going to be talking about. But it's not as hype as in one of the, like, it's not hype as an ecchi show of this season. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not as hype as it is I thought it was gonna be hype, but it's not that big this fall. Sure, we got. Sure, this show is not like hype as the other shows I mentioned, like Sekirei, High School DxD, Shinmin Mountain Testament, or To Love Rule, anything like that, or Monster Misune, or anything ecchi related. But this right here is not like a big ecchi talk, but it's more like a C tier type if you want to recommend shows. But basically, the first 2 episodes was really good. I'm not saying they were bad, but it does have. It's one of those shows we're gonna have a slow pace, and then roughly after 6 or 7 episodes, it's gonna get more like a push in our faces, because it's gonna have like 12 episodes. You got 6 of it. First half, you'd be like, it's like an escalator. You're going up. So this is like a rise. So once it gets to that point where it's like, then you're like, okay. But I do admire this episode. So it was about student council president. Now next week is the Idol Girl. I can't wait to see how this Idol Girl possesses. I gotta see how she does it. I gotta see her ability. Well, I bet one of her abilities, she does those echo voices like, because she's an idol. And I think the supersonic ability. So let's see. I'm just taking a guess, but let's see. So I look forward for next week's episode 3. I probably will air this next week, not on a Sunday, but any day is possible for me, because the things next week I have to take care of. But I rest assure you, I will do a review of Val X Love episode 3. So stay tuned for next week for that.